Yeah, I know how, I mean, I know I can relate to it being shameful. I mean, I know when I was much younger, getting into when I first came out, right? Like before I came out, I had no friends. So I was the type of person that any money I got, I saved because I didn't have anything to do or spend my money on. But then when I started to come out and I would go out in the gay scene, the queer scene, go out with friends. And of course, that costs a lot of money. And I just wanted to be around people all the time. So I started to spend all the money I had. I started to get credit cards to buy things that I couldn't afford. And I got myself into over 30 grand worth of credit card debt just because I was trying to keep up with the life and try to feel,
Mm.
I guess, worthy, feel part of the scene. So I can probably, and then after that, like much shame came around me being in that problem. I thought, oh my God, like, my parents have set a good example for me. I never listened to it. I've got myself into all these problems. I feel like I can't go to them because they'll feel disappointed in me. And so I did a lot of it,
Mm.
suffered in silence and shame. And it took a long time for me to get myself out of that kind of
Mm.
huddle or that mess, right? Welcome to the Queer Quest podcast, your beacon of light and sprinkle of glitter in the queer community. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for queer individuals. And together, we're embarking on a journey of transformation. Each week, we bring you a new training topic or connect you with visionary queer leaders in healing and coaching, diving deep into conversations that inspire growth, celebrate diversity, and empower you to live authentically. So wherever you are, settle in and let's get ready to unlock the vibrant potential within. This is where your quest begins. Hello, you fabulous souls, and welcome to this episode of the Queer Quest podcast. I am your host, Cristiano Green, the CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a queer transformation coach. And today we have a very special guest on today. We have Wave Melon, but we can just call her Wave because what a cool name Wave is. And Wave is a queer financial coach and a queer wizard and best friend on the epic adventure of money mastery. Welcome to the podcast, Wave.
Thank you, Cristiano. I am thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled to
And
have you
just
here because we haven't had someone on the podcast who is a queer financial coach. So I'd love to maybe start by, what is your definition of someone who is a queer financial coach?
absolutely. I would say that most people think the word finances, it's like their worst nightmare often,
Yes,
and they would much rather tell me about their sex life than their money life.
correct. Taboo topic, all
And
right? You can't talk about money.
I know, but doesn't that almost sound sexy now that we it's like, wait, now I want to talk about money because we're not allowed.
Well, we're talking about
Um,
it, baby.
so yeah, let's do it today. I think it's something where the queer community is really coming into themselves, where we realize that we can play by our own rules and we don't have to accept the rules that have been given to us. So in my life, a financial coach is someone who like I'm going to be your adventure buddy as you start to focus and fall in love with your finances, maybe even for the first time. And so that is a transformational heart journey that oddly enough, right, we think of it as math, as a math problem.
Yeah,
But I guarantee you we are not robots. And if we knew all the rules to like building wealth, it wouldn't make a difference because what matters is where we come from, what we believe in, and where our passions are, and that's where we want to funnel our money. So while like a CPA, they're going to do your taxes and bookkeeping, which there are amazing queer CPAs now.
totally.
There are queer financial advisors who are legally allowed to advise you on investment opportunities in the market. I want to give people a strategic map and plan so that they can live wild and free because that's kind of how I like to live.
Oh yeah.
So
We're all a
yeah,
little bit
getting
queer, and I think that journey of being a bit more free from the constraints of the world would probably translate well into the financial world as well.
yeah, definitely. So it's a wild journey. It's some people come to me, it's like we need to solve debt, right? But this is like
Yeah.
an entire conversation and journey in life where, we want to get out of that fear, shame, and guilt and come into the light and realize that it's only shame if we let it be that way.
Oh,
And so that
totally.
kind of involves reducing isolation and telling somebody sometimes. So,
Oh yeah, I know how. I mean, I know I can relate to it being shameful. I mean, I know when I was much younger, getting into when I first came out, right? Like before I came out, I had no friends, so I was the type of person that any money I got, I saved because I didn't have anything to do or spend my money on. But then when I started to come out, and I would go out in the gay scene, the queer scene, go out with friends, and of course, that costs a lot of money, and I just wanted to be around people all the time. So I started to spend all the money I had. I started to get credit cards to buy things that I couldn't afford. And I got myself into over 30 grand worth of credit card debt just because I was trying to keep up with the life and try to feel,
mm,
I guess, worthy, feel part of the scene. So I can probably, and then after that, like much shame came around me being in that problem. I thought, oh my God, like, my parents have set a good example for me. I never listened to it. I've got myself into all these problems. I feel like I can't go to them because they'll feel disappointed in me. And so I did a lot of it,
mm,
suffered in silence and shame. And it took a long time for me to get myself out of that kind of
mm,
puddle or that mess, right? I'm sure it's probably
mm.
a lot of people that might go through that. Like maybe what's your kind of journey with it? Like, have you always been good with finances or like
Definitely not. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I resonate with your journey. I was in almost the exact same amount of debt. A lot of it was because I went to Burning Man a lot.
I love Burning Man. I've been once,
And
been once. I'm gonna go again.
yeah, again, that's a place where you not only can be queer, but you can be anything you want. And I'm just so drawn to that concept.
Yeah.
And it's really strange growing up. Like, I knew I was different for various reasons, just the same way we all know we're different. We know we're different because we're queer,
Yeah.
probably. But
Yeah.
we also just know we're different because we don't have the same values that society has.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I believed in love and kindness and peace and art. um, and as you get older, you realize that it's, at least here in America, it's about corporate profit and staying in your lane and doing things like everyone else
Yeah.
and working until you're 85 and dying. And those like two lifestyles were so at contrast for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave the system. I don't need the system. I'll just like go be free at Burning Man and do all these things. I
Yeah.
also went into a massive amount of debt. Um, and one day I just remember this moment. I was at a corporate job. I had a boss. I like to call her Cruella DeVille.
Oh,
Um, she threw a notebook at me at the office, like
wow.
chucked it across the room at me. And I had to come in the next day because I was in debt and I couldn't leave my job. And it was something that like changed my entire life. I knew that I wanted to be sovereign. I knew that no one deserves to own me in that way.
Yeah.
And
There's such a fear
I
around that as well, right? Like I have to go in because I need the money, and if not, like I feel in a very vulnerable, like victim-like position in a sense, like an abuser and a victim, right? But I have to go back. I'm
absolutely.
conditioned to go back. Like I've been there myself, so I get it.
Yeah, and it replicates itself all the way up. Like, I'm a victim to like this we have a lot of macroeconomic forces that are working against us, and not just the queer community, but people of color and indigenous communities,
Yeah.
and just our inequities in general. So we're it's easy to feel low. It's easy to be at even a microcosm at your job now feeling this pressure. And it's like I had a craving deep inside though, like I deserve to live my life. This is one lifetime, and why is it not mine? Like, why is it
Yeah.
everyone else's?
Why am I doing
And
everything for everyone else, but kind of putting myself at the very back of that list, you know?
oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's what happened. I realized that your money represents you, it's your life force. It represents from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. And I don't know why on this 3D planet, our money, like currency, is how we like represent what we did during the day.
Yeah.
But it does. And with that in mind, I just decided to start honoring it completely different. like this is a beautiful thing. And I started centering it in my life, and things started opening in ways that I had not expected. And so this journey, I always talk about it almost as a self-love journey, but what I've because I was like, oh, I'm gonna fall in love. Like I am like this is when I care for my finances, I'm caring for me.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I've recently been realizing though, Cristiano, and maybe you'll identify with this, is that the queer community, we don't even believe in self-love. We believe in community care. And
Yeah.
so we're like, you can take a bath alone and like feel good. That's great. But if you can like network and be with your community and ask for help and receive help and give and take, we're creating this like entire network of queer people who are feeling safe to be in spaces so that we don't feel isolated. Like we as a community don't typically believe in isolation. We believe in inclusion and togetherness. And so I'm realizing that we do best when we're doing things together.
Yeah,
And
and
I
unfortunately,
think
there's
that's
still
where
so many people out there who feel alone and lonely in this community, which is a struggle again. And so again, those
ah,
probably, a lot of those people probably don't get the lessons or the learnings or find people who can help support them to overcome some of the financial problems, right? Because,
mhm,
if you can't ask for help, you keep doing the same things over and over again, thinking that you're doing what you know, right? Because it becomes what's comfortable. But then that
mhm,
comfort can come with a lot of discomfort because it could be causing you to get yourself further into debt because maybe you're using money as a way to buy things that you think are going to make you happy or going to bring you more self-love. But you really what you're
mhm,
looking for is that connection. And unfortunately, people try to buy connection sometimes, right?
mhm. I really resonate with the loneliness in general. I have just what I call like my existential crisis at all times. I am always curious about what that kind it's just like the spiritual loneliness. Like I just don't know what we're doing here all the time. And I remind myself that I'm like I believe in love, I believe in art, I believe in beauty, I believe in the environment. I love bird watching. I know what I believe, but it's so easy to feel isolated and alone.
Yes.
Even if you've ever felt that even with a bunch of friends or family, it's like those feelings are so human, and being on open and honest about those, it's my dear wish that no one should go through anything alone. And so like in my little tiny mission on the world, it's like that's why I call myself like an adventure buddy. I want to go on financial adventures with people. That's my specialty. So that ain't no one have to do it alone.
I
And
agree. Yeah.
it is hard to reach out on money specifically because yeah, the shame is so strong, and there's so many feelings, and I have had those feelings. Yeah.
So relatable for
So
sure. And I mean, it makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah. When like this is why I'm building QueerQuest, an online community
Mm,
for queer people to come to so they can learn about finances, about business, about self-love, about their queerness, about relationships, about dating, about every facet of your life, right? And build a community at the same time because we don't want people to be alone. And as we know, over 70% of people in the queer community do suffer from, long-term loneliness at some point in their life. So,
mm,
excuse me, being able to have a community that supports you
mm,
while you grow and learn and realize there's no shame in it. Once if you can
mm,
tell one person and you'll probably realize that more people have been through what you're going through than you can realize. And that's the problem with loneliness is that we think we're the only person going through it, which is why we keep ourselves in this state. Whereas the more we
mm,
talk about it, we can find other people out there in the community who've been there, done that, and now are, experts in their area, like finances, correct?
mhm. The platform honestly sounds amazing. And yeah, just hearing you speak on loneliness, I mean, this is just a major it makes me sad, I guess. Christiana, I'm sad about it. There's so
Yeah.
much going on for us. And I like to think of it like this. There's so many people who have dreams, and they might just be small dreams. Like some of my small dreams are like I want to go volunteer at the SPCA, right? Some people have bigger dreams and some people have other dreams. And a lot of these dreams, um, people's dreams to me is a form of waging peace.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of waging war to me is waging peace. And that is pursuing your passion. And many of us want to pursue our passion. I have a lot of people who are curious about how to do that. And like again, I'm just going to call it like we're on this 3D planet dimension, and for whatever reason money and currency is a big piece of that.
It's big energy, right? And money is energy really in this day and age, right?
Mm, yeah, it's like it's an energetic exchange,
Correct.
no doubt. And so it's like I don't want that anchor to be following people like, well, I will never get my dream because of this anchor. So it's like, cut the cord. I'm going to follow this metaphor. We're going to cut the anchor. We're going to go on our ship. We're going to be pirates. But you know what I mean? Like, we're going to, like, there is no need to have that because, personal finance, once I walk people through it, they're like, oh, yeah, I get that. But it's like, now what? How do I build wealth without feeling guilty about being wealthy? Because there are people with less than me. How do I build wealth with a purpose and a chosen direction that's going to like benefit me and
Mm.
others and feel good about that without becoming like, right, a disingenuous capitalist? And like I told you earlier, there's so many people in our community are just, we're disengaged from our economic system. We don't believe in the values that, have come about, even though like the ideals were like freedom, right? So how do we create our own systems? How do we
Freedom
create our
for a
own
certain
rules?
type of person is really kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
And we can all call it out. It's the straight white male, which is where a lot of things have been built for them to succeed, right? And, not
Mhm.
necessarily putting into the forth of their mind other people, other, cultures, other communities, right? It's been, as long as we win, we're happy. And unfortunately, the world is built upon many different cultures and races and genders and sexualities that sometimes this one size fits all doesn't work for the majority, which is, as you said, probably why so many people in our community don't really want to follow the capitalistic views of how we should live our life. And that includes financial things as well, right?
Right. Yeah. And so some of my clients, they might choose to work within the system. They might choose to work out. They might do some blend. I do work with, the trans community. I do have in indigenous communities. There's so much to share about how other people do things,
Yeah.
and how we can kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say that we feel like we're the victim or that we're the victim and we need to own it. It's just like, how do we get along though? How do we make our mission? How do we wage peace without getting stuck in the mud? And again, I always call it this 3D reality, you guys, because I don't know the greater answer of like why money, but I'm playing like this simulation, I'm like, all right, well, we have this currency, whatever. But at the same time, I did something really cool the other day. I was in a group of people and we were just going to create social debt with each other. Have you heard of that?
No, share us. What is this social debt concept you're
Okay.
referring to?
Totally. I actually had a lot of anxiety about it because, well, actually, no more anxiety. That was my past me. I almost wanted to think about it differently. So we were going to offer our services to each other without worrying about what the price was. So it's like, hey, does anyone want like some financial coaching? And they were like, yeah. Does anyone want some this or that?
Relationship advice.
Chiropractic
Yeah,
work, and
yeah.
yeah. And it was just all sorts of people offering services, and we weren't going to worry about whether they were equal services. We were just going to go into debt with each other. And it was really freeing, especially as someone who helps people get out of debt. So I just thought I learned something, that there are a lot of models, there are a lot of ways to do things.
Totally.
And, my idea though, like most people are really, really close to poverty or homelessness. And so that's always my number one
What do
goal.
they
Like,
say?
I want your,
There's 80% of of people who are working are one paycheck away from being on the streets, right?
so close. And yeah, like 3 life events or yeah, a paycheck. And
Yeah.
like that is so unacceptable to me now. And it's unacceptable in my heart for anybody that I know or see to have that. And so on some level, I'm strict with people. I'm like, look, we have to get our SHIT together because
Yeah.
I just don't think that's okay anymore for us. And we need to be talking about this. And we need to be supporting each other. Like, yeah, if you're going out to the clubs with your buddies, right, when you are out in the scene or going to Burning Man, like, I wish someone had asked me, like, how are you doing financially though? Like, how can we support you? You know, all these things, like, just as they would maybe like, hey, do you have protection for the playa? Or like, what else do you need? What other emotional support? Do you need a spirit bunny for all your, all the things you'll be taking out there? So it's just this whole thing that we need to start integrating because we cannot let each other like drop to these levels. It's just not cool anymore, and I'm so excited to bring that out for us.
For sure. And so then what would you say are some of the main things that you see from queer people when it comes to struggling with their finances or the issues that they don't understand that when they come to you, they go, oh my God, that seems so simple or whatever. Like, what are the main things that you notice?
Yeah, the first thing I notice is most people know kind of what to do, they just don't know where to start. So just it's having like a direction is good.
Someone just
The
confirming for them what to do so that they actually do it, even though it's just like, yes, that's correct. Okay, so I should do that instead of going, I
Okay,
think I
great.
know, but I don't want to make a mistake because I've already been making mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows like make more, spend less, right? Or some, we all kind of know the general principles. But
Don't
there is
spend
just like,
more
yeah,
than you
this,
earn.
yeah, there's like this moment where you realize like I never got any education around finances. And what I did get was from society and my parents and my family. And that is always a hot mess of people's beliefs.
Mm,
And growing up in poverty or growing up with wealth, that helps determine what's going on. And again, like we're not robots, we're like these beautiful, magical beasts with all sorts of interconnections. Sometimes we unlock the most unusual thing, right? Like, did you know that this makes me feel like this because of this? And just those patterns in our brain. I was going to give an example, but I don't want to give away anybody's personal, example in this case. Let me think of one for myself.
you can call
Um,
someone, Barry or Lisa.
yeah, like Barry identified that going to the grocery store is what poor people do because
Mhm.
that's what they did when they were poor. And so now they don't want to go to the grocery store because eating out means that you've made it. And that's
Gotcha. And that's a
totally all
belief.
fine
That's
and
like a
good.
deep belief that he has. And so that's causing
Yeah,
him to make choices that are probably causing him to be in certain financial issues, correct?
totally. And now, just to be clear, I love blowing money. I think spending all money is spending money eventually. Like, you go, girl, right? Like, please
Yeah.
spend. I am not the financial coach who thinks you should be disciplined and rigid. I want you to spend money. I want you to have fun. I want you to live your freaking best life. I don't even care what you buy. And you can go and eat out all you want, right? And we have to go through that season where we make sure that we're actually secure. We're not going to fall into poverty. We're not going to kind of be stuck in the paycheck to paycheck cycle. But that season's pretty short because if you can just get your feet under you and make sure all your friends and family have their feet under them, then like you kind of grow. And that wealth doesn't just build on itself for no reason.
Mm.
There's so many things to spend on that are beautiful. Like, yeah, I want to invest in your platform. I want to fly to Belize and feed the rescue manatees.
Yeah,
Like I mean, there's all these beautiful things to do, and we get
totally.
trapped in this cycle, paycheck to paycheck, and then we believe that we belong here. This is how I'm going to live my life. When I'm like, oh man, there's so much peace to be waged, though, Cristiano. So many platforms to be created.
Correct. Yeah. There's so many things that people can do to create a better life for themselves. But you probably see this as well, is that it's people's beliefs that hold them back. It's and this is kind of what you were talking about before, when people say, I have a little dream or a big dream. Usually, people's dreams fall into the realm of what they believe that they can achieve. If I believe X, Y, Z, I'm only going to dream in that level. Even though deep down you might want something bigger and better, you're just not. You're too afraid to say it or speak it out loud because you don't think you're worthy of it. And I find as
Mm.
people go through the journey of growth and healing and transformation, that their dreams get bigger because they start to believe more within themselves, and they've maybe shifted some of their old beliefs. For me, I had to shift a lot of beliefs that I had around money that were taught to me from my parents, who came, from their generation of stuff that happened in their life, and their parents had taught them stuff. So I can't blame them for it. But I had to go, if I want to change it, I can't expect my parents to help to change it for me because they've still got some of these beliefs. I had to do the work. But then when I was able to do the work, I started to see the transformation that was happening in my own financial life. And I started to go, okay, now I feel like I can create money for myself. I don't need to get someone else to pay me. It was as a career, a job, right? I can actually go out and create my own business and substantially live a better life, a happier life, because I am in control of my life and my finances.
Mm. Yeah. Did you have any sense of like feeling like you deserved, like, do you deserve to have money or deserve to live better? Is it like a deserving feeling?
Oh, it's a belief that I, if I do the things that I need to do to give back, so like my business is about giving back to the queer community, right? And I believe if
Mm.
I put in my energy into doing that, and it attracts people to it, then yes, I deserve to do that, because the money I am going to be earning, part of it's going to be going into building a foundation where I want to support and change, political and social things for queer people around the world who are in areas where they are disadvantaged or even unsafe, or even to the point where they're getting attacked, they're getting raped, they're getting killed in some spaces as well, right? So for me,
Mm.
I know that I have a mission to create money for me to have a good life. So I'm taken care of personally, so I can do more of what I'm doing. Because if I'm not taken care of, I can't give as much as I want to give. But then how do I get more
Mm.
money to then create a foundation to also be able to support other people? So I believe that it's an energy, and it's what you put
Mm.
in will come back to you, and you will be taken care of, And I do
Yeah.
deserve to like I said, to live a happy life and a financially abundant life, because, like I said, of what I'm able to do for the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you remind me of like this word wholeness, where it's we want to work on parts of ourselves, and the idea though is that at some point all those parts come together and we start really feeling like whole, a little more whole. And it's hard if you feel broken. I've absolutely felt broken before. Um,
Totally.
yeah, I guess it's this is one little thing I feel confident about walking people through. Like, right, they may not know, like you said, we may not know how to start. We may think we're in so much debt that we're unsavable. Many of us feel that we make a lot of money and we're just really bad at it and we'll never learn. And you wouldn't, and now I can't tell anyone what I've done
These are all
because I've
beliefs.
had,
All right. Yeah. Of
maybe I'm a lawyer in San Francisco and everyone thinks of me this one way, but I can't show that I'm not. I mean, what
course.
I've learned from everyone is that we feel alone and scared in our finances.
Yeah. Totally.
Uh,
And it doesn't matter, I guess, what level that you're at across the board. If something's not working the way that you want it to be, you feel scared and alone, because you're not going to be able to walk out to the street and go, "Can I have $500 from a
yeah,
stranger?" It's very unlikely that someone's going to be able to give that to you to sort that out. And again, I think that's probably where it comes from, is that we have to sort out our own financial, future, because not anyone's going to do
yeah.
it for us, which is why I guess people feel so
Well,
alone.
let's
No.
That's true. I have this idea though, so bear with me. It's drag
Okay.
brunch, but we every week one of the group presents their financial situation.
Ooh.
And there's a whiteboard and there's like, I don't know, a really cool wand. And we're like, look, guys, here's all my credit cards. Here's what's on them. here's my dreams, here's what I have been doing. And like, let's all collaborate and figure out what I need to do and what steps I need to take. And then we drink champagne and we enjoy our day. um,
Ooh,
it's it's like, what if this was what it was like?
better
And I
world.
have this dream. I have this dream.
Well, maybe that's something that can be happening with Queer Quest, is that there's a dream for people to be able to be open about it, and there's a community of people who are talking about it, and you are doing something like that, like there's all the possibilities in the world if you have that passion and desire to make it happen, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. It's time for us to take a little quick break right now, but we'll be right back after this here with more with Wave. In a world where every journey is unique, one path shines brightly for the queer community. Introducing QueerQuest, the first of its kind personal development platform designed exclusively for us, by us. At QueerQuest, we understand the multifaceted journey of queer identity. That's why we've created a space where you can explore, learn, and grow with the guidance of queer experts from around the globe. Whether you're seeking to enhance your physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being, QueerQuest is your gateway to transformation. Imagine embarking on quests tailored to your journey of self-discovery, finding community, and unlocking your queer excellence. QueerQuest offers online courses, coaching programs, and soon workshops, seminars, retreats, and festivals, all designed to empower you to live your best life. Ready to start your adventure? Join us at www.queerquest.vip to become part of a movement towards personal and collective greatness. Sign up today to join the waitlist and be the first to know when we launch. QueerQuest, where your journey of self-discovery and transformation begins. Don't just dream of a life filled with pride and purpose, make it your reality with QueerQuest. Visit www.queerquest.vip now. Your quest awaits. All right, we are back with Wave, and we've been having this really cool in-depth conversation about finances, especially finances for us individually, but also for people in the queer community and the things that people struggle with. So, Wave, I'd love to talk to you about, your journey of coming into your queer identity. And I'd love to know, do you find that throughout that journey you had any, what happened with your finances as you finally came to terms with it? Did something shift and change and evolve? I'd really love to hear a bit of your story about that.
Absolutely. It all began with the X-Files.
Ooh, the X-Files, eh?
I was in high school and I remember thinking like all my friends were like, David Duchovny is so hot. And I was like, yeah, he's hot. Like, duh. And then I remember also thinking like, oh, but also like Scully is really hot. And then I was like, wait, what? And then I like wanted us all to be in a throuple, and that really blew my mind. And so I did not come out. I was like, nope, I'm too freaky. Things are like, that's something I can't even handle. So I was on the softball team. Girls were coming out left and right. And I was like, no way, not for me.
Not for you.
Geez, though, I feel like from the moment I entered society, I felt so wildly different than everyone else. And it almost seemed like I would get like identified as such. Did that ever happen to you? Like adults just kind of knew.
Oh, I mean, yes, pretty much. I got called all of the names before I even understood what they meant, right? I don't think I realized
Yeah.
about it myself and to understand about it, because there wasn't like a point of reference for me to go and be able to see. There wasn't like, especially back in, this is 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago, when I first started to come to terms with it, but there wasn't, stuff in the media or people on TV shows that you could go, oh, he's a gay person or that. It was like the only things you would see were, people on, say, shows like CSI where someone was getting killed or going through a heinous crime. And you would see that like, oh, this seems bad, right? Because people are doing this to gay people. So I didn't have any of like that. But yes, I was getting called this and that by people in school and people's parents and things like that before I even understood it. Yeah. And even to this day, like, I feel like I don't even have to go up and say, hey, I'm like, I don't need to do it, because I think people know, and I'm comfortable in my own skin to not really worry about it. But yes, definitely.
Yeah. That's great that you feel comfortable now. Yeah, I had that experience. I wanted Legos, not Barbies. Although I did really love this one Barbie because she could go in like the water and change her swimsuit color.
Oh,
But like there were so many times. I remember in church, this woman asked me, she went around the circle. It was a circle of girls. I think we were like 12. And I feel like this was a setup because she went around the room and said, "Do you want to be a boy or a girl?" And everyone's like, "A girl." And then they got to me and they were like, "Do you want to be a boy or a girl?" And I was like, "A boy." Like, obviously, they get to do all the cool stuff. Y'all are starting to babysit, and I am trying to like do, I'm trying to wear Quicksilver and sports gear. So,
yeah.
everything was so binary for me too. But again, I just remember that moment because I'm like, was that a setup? And like, what does it mean that I want to be a boy? I now identify as agender. I don't, or genderless.
Nevertheless.
I don't know what that means to people, but I honor it in other people. To
What does
me,
that mean? What does it
it's
mean to you then? Yeah.
yeah, sure. I don't even know what people are talking about when they talk about gender. So I actually feel a little like wildly floating outside of the conversation. I don't know what like it means to be a boy or a girl. I don't know what that means, or to be I know that people play with clothing. I know that that's gender expression. I guess I wouldn't identify with like a maternal feeling as being like female or feminine. So
Mm,
I don't understand the conversation. Like I do recognize that people feel strongly about it and they identify with things, and I so want to like I support that. I do because I love everyone, and it's cool to see the diversity of where we all are landing.
yeah, totally. I mean,
Something
I'm
that
gender fluid, and so for me, I feel like I can dance between all of it, and not feel confined to anyone's space, because I feel there's some days I feel way more masculine, and others I feel more feminine, and I can
mm,
represent that however I choose to. But I don't like, yeah, I like, people probably would look at me
yeah.
and think, yeah, he's just he's this, he's that, but I'm like, gender fluid
Mm,
feels right for me. I've still classed
yeah.
myself as a man, but I feel like I can dance between masculine and feminine.
That's lovely. Yeah, and it's so much fun. I think that's great. And I think where I would come in is I wouldn't know what the masculine meant. I would know what the feminine side, it's all kind of a mystery to me. And
Yeah, you just
sometimes
wave.
people get really attached to the binary. I've had recently I was having this conversation. They were like, "Well, the divine feminine and the divine masculine,
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah,
said, "Well,
yeah,
I don't know." And then they said, "Well, the sun and the moon." And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, "Well, dude, Mars is right there and Venus is right there. And honestly, with the Earth, this is like a thruple too." So now we're we're not in a binary system at all. And so it just makes me laugh because I think I get this example a lot. Well, like the sun and the moon. I'm like, it's just the sun, though. It's just there's just one. But yeah, it's it doesn't bother me per se, like that people engage in these worlds. These are just other worlds, and I love worlds.
yeah,
Something I really appreciated about Burning Man is that you can have your camp, and your camp can be whatever you want it to be.
yeah.
We had vegan camp one week, and like the bacon camp one year. And you know what? You can have your own camps, but we all have to live together. And so I think that's the beauty of gender is go for it.
Go for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
truly.
so as agender or genderless, I kind of like maybe I don't know, maybe I'm still processing this, like where I fit then if if I if I don't even understand, but it's an okay place to be. Like it's
Totally.
not so bad. Yeah.
That's cool.
Sometimes, yeah, I'm just Wave. That makes sense to
That's
me.
just what I feel like. That's cool. It's just you're just Wave, I'm just Cristiano, and we're all just who we are, right?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like really good when I'm in a onesie, like a Tigger onesie or a unicorn onesie or like a lemur onesie.
I love it. I love that. That's cool. And so then how is your
So,
journey of queerness like shown up in the financial world for you, like your journey of finances? Have you noticed any shifts as you've come into more of your own? Yeah, share a bit about that.
Yeah, like as it relates to my queer identity too. I mean,
Yeah.
no doubt about it, the financial industry is that straight white man you said earlier, and he wears a button up, but not a cute one like me. Um, and he doesn't want you to have any information, right? He's like, give me your money. I'm your advisor. You don't need to even know what these words are. And I'm going to use a bunch of words to scare you. And you're just supposed to trust me, even though I'm literally taking 2% off of your your money every year. I just think that that system is broken and it is not for us. And we don't recognize ourselves in this system. Like when people come to like my website or meet with me, they've never heard of money talked about in this way. Like, what do you mean fall in love with your money? Well,
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is like something I've learned from being with y'all, right? That we believe in love. We know that love wins. And we're going to carry that value through everything. And so it's just there's no off limits place like our money. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no off limits place with our money. I like that. It's important to understand that like we can have what we want, we can create what we want, and we don't have to have money as a barrier. We just have to believe that we are worthy of that and like know that what can I do to get there? There's always about like as you said, you'd like help people make a plan, a little directory of what they need to do. So like if I want X, Y, and Z, what do I need to do in order to get that? Do I need to make
Yeah.
some sacrifices over here? Do I need to sort out some beliefs about money so that I don't no longer spend it in negative ways in moments of whatever? For me, it was always if I was feeling low and I needed a boost of instant gratification, it would be, oh, maybe I'm going to buy something to make myself feel better. Unfortunately, those feelings only lasted very temporarily. It wasn't like a long-term thing for me to buy this thing and I would feel better. But, I'm sure there's many people out there who spend money in order to feel good and they've tied it around their emotions. And then you get into
Mm.
this cycle because that's your belief system around it. But then, of course, that can come with making some bad choices in the moment because if you're not feeling
Hmm.
good, you want to feel good, you might spend money that you don't really have in order to feel good
Yeah.
or to look good in front of other people, right? You want to impress other people. So you're going to spend money so that someone sees you in a way that you want them to see you. But in reality,
Mm.
most of the time, people don't see you. They're too busy focused on how other people see them. They're not really focused on you being like, oh my God, that person's got this and that. It's like no one really cares truly deep down, you know?
Yeah. There's a few times in life where I felt so embarrassed about what I had done. Like, right? Like one of them was I think I was addicted to social media and I started believing everyone's story that they had things that I didn't.
Oh, yeah,
And
because
I
it's the
realized that
influence world,
maybe
right? Yeah.
I remember that like I met a friend and he was like, no, we're not happy." I'm like, "But on Instagram you're happy." And he's like, "No, that's not it." And it like and I know that people know this, but like it hit me so deep. And then I felt real shame and embarrassment that I had invested so much of my night and day in scrolling, which is the trick, right? They get you that way. It's
Of
it's
course.
it's addictive on purpose. And then I had really started believing that everyone had things that I didn't have and that I wasn't capable of getting. They have a relationship, they have things that are going to fill that loneliness hole and I don't have it. And I know I like cried on the way home from work because like that dream, like all of this fake people's lives were lies and I wasn't happy. There was another moment where my parents died young. My mom died when I was 6 and my dad died when I was 17 and just kicked up a bunch of abandonment issues, for good measure. And like some money was given to me from my dad, some inheritance, and I blew it all. And I blew it all early. And
I know so many
I
people who
it's
have gone through, they've earned some money from someone in a similar situation, goes within a year or two, right?
I had no concept of what it even meant. I thought, I don't know, we have 401ks here in the US. Like, I thought that meant $401,000. Like, I didn't even know that was a retirement count. I didn't know what the word retirement or count even meant.
Yeah.
I I had no concept, and I didn't get to honor my dad's money. Like that was his blood, sweat, and tears, and I didn't get to honor it. And like so it's just these pivotal moments where it's like instead of keeping that deep down in a dark hole in my heart, it's like I want to tell people like, yeah, those are real moments in life. And now I get to honor him and me differently. And like it's a piece of me. Like my money is an extension of my day. It's an extension of the work I do and who I am. So like it's such a beautiful thing. And it's just a transformation of the heart, right? Where you hate something or we don't, it's like a hidden feeling that I've let down my family that I express now through helping others
Yeah. And the
walk
great
through
thing
that
is
same
that
journey.
look at the lessons you learned from those experiences, even though you may not have spent the money in a way that you feel honors him. The lessons you learned because of that actually probably are exactly a great way to honor him in anyway, because now you're doing that for so many other people and other people that you care about within this queer community, So I think that's beautiful in a sense. Like I look back on some of those things as well and I go, you know what? I learned some powerful lessons from it. So it's not a regret, it's not a mistake, But it's hard now that we know this stuff. That's probably why you're in a position to say, hey, I want to help somebody else so they don't make similar mistakes that I did. Or if they have, there's a way out, There's always a way out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
coming to kind of reconcile with yourself. It's like this radical honesty that I'm really curious about. Um, because okay, let's relate it really down to like what people think a financial coach would do. Like, well,
correct.
we're gonna
Yeah,
start a budget. We want to start a budget, but like that's a dirty word already. No one wants to start a budget. No one wants to have restriction. But what is like my budget, you guys, is awesome. I put things in my envelopes that are so cool. That I really, really, truly love to do with my time. Um, and I've been able to get really clear about what really fills my existential cup. That loneliness, unfortunately, like being in a partnership, doesn't like I love her, but it doesn't feel like this like existential loneliness in my heart. But like sometimes like so I really fund things that I love to do. And I absolutely know that thousands of dollars went to Amazon back in the day, literally on the way to Burning Man, just like buying a bunch of crap. And I don't have that stuff anymore. I don't even know where it is. I don't even know what I bought, but it's gone. And now I feel like I really know where my dollars are going and then it goes to things that I truly love to do. And I de-emphasize Amazon purchase and I emphasize things that feel really good to me. Even I just have a craft beer line. I don't want cheap beer. I want good beer because I live in Oregon and we have good beer here. Um, I also like, all the things that I love to do. I also have a little pocket for like my next big idea because what if I have like an idea and I want to fund it? What if it's to start a pug rescue and I need vet bill? It's just a dreamy state. And to
I
get
love
to
that.
this place, it requires a level of radical honesty where you have to really look at where your money is going and if it aligns with who you think you are. And like there's no shame in it, right? It's like if who you are is, there's a lot of bad financial advice out there that I don't like because it's like don't eat out, don't get coffee, don't get avocado toast, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm like, I don't like go for it, get all of those things, but we'll deprioritize a few other things. If something isn't aligning with like let's say you care about protecting the earth but you're buying fast fashion, like how can we fund your budget so you can buy really quality items from local or queer owned businesses.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
um it's fun, yeah, like but I bought a book on, okay, here's my example from recently that I've been writing high on, Cristiano.
Yeah.
I bought a book on Amazon and it's sitting here and it's like whatever, but then I went to the local bookstore and I had a whole experience. I like walked in, there was fun, cool people, there was really fresh books. It was like a 1 hour adventure. And I bought books at full price, not at Amazon price. But like one of those books even said, this book is like a big gay blanket. And I bought that book and I have been riding high on this bookstore experience. And like, because it had
And
a
it's
feeling
worth
I
that
got to put,
extra few dollars that you would have spent to
oh
go and
my
have that
gosh,
experience. Yeah, I love that.
I paid double now. So yeah, it's just like kind of this cool like realignment of self where I'm a financial coach, sometimes I'm like, oh, Amazon cheap. But supporting my local business, getting a queer author from San Francisco who's local, local, there was just a whole experience about it. And so I'm prepped to help people like get those budgets in a good, healthy place that we don't think of it as a budget, like in the way that we have. It's like, this is where I get to do what I want.
It's about figuring out what you really want and aligning that with how you're spending your money. I love
That's the
that.
one.
I
That's
love
the
that.
one.
Beautiful Wave. So we're coming up to the final question here. And I'd love to know, like, outside of budgets, for majority of people that come to, or anyone who's listening out there who's probably in a position where they're really struggling or they're feeling some shame around their finances, or they're not where they want to be, or they don't believe that they can get it there, what would that one piece of advice that you'd like to give to those people out there listening, so that they can maybe start their journey of maybe solving some of these financial problems, or even moving in a direction of feeling a bit more safe and secure when it comes to their finances, so they're not some of those 80% of people who are living paycheck to paycheck?
Hmm. I mean, I just want to give a pep talk.
Give a
Like
pep talk. Let's do it.
there is no lost cause. And
Yeah.
like absolutely please reach out to somebody, anybody. If for me it was my best friend and we just talked about it. Like, look, something's off and I need help. And immediately was like, cool. Yeah, of course. Like no problem. Right? And it's just lifting, it's like it's just a gentle lift of the heart to just share something out loud with someone you trust. And that's, we want to cut that isolation. So there is no lost cause. Absolutely. There's always something. And if it was me, what I did, I just started following some personal finance accounts on Instagram. That's like the
The
least
easiest
way, or
way to do it.
TikTok
If you're
to kind
someone
of,
who's scrolling all the time, why not start
yeah,
getting some cool stuff? That's what I do. Is I always follow people
yeah,
who I want to learn from, instead of just like, sexy guys or whatever it is.
yeah,
It's find something that's actually gonna, okay, I can learn something from this.
yeah. My hashtag is like queer money, queer finance. So you'll find me on hashtag there. And that's because I really do believe if someone were to look at that hashtag and they'd find me, like what an honor to bring that. And for me too, that's how I started. I followed Personal Finance Club on Instagram and I absolutely recommend him to the ends of the earth. And I just started taking in what he was saying. And then that sharing piece, that's the other piece of it. And so just immersing yourself, because it really is a shift in the heart. It's not about the math. It's not that you've done anything wrong.
No.
It's we're
Yeah.
on the right path.
We're all on
Yeah,
the
we
right
got
path, and
this.
we can always take one small change, in the left direction, that's going to lead us to something better. So beautiful advice there, Wave. And I really want to honor you and thank you for coming on here and sharing your expertise with the queer people out there who are listening. So Wave, how can people connect with you, find you, like what's coming up for you? Like feel like free to share what's going on in the Wave world, the world of Wave.
Thanks, Luciano. Yeah, definitely. I recommend my Instagram. It's Financial Coaching with Wave. Uh,
We'll
that is
add
a
that
place
in the
that
links
I'm,
below as well. So yeah.
yeah, diving into. I have some characters, particularly Bad Betty. She's a bad Betty. And
Ooh.
I hope that that becomes a community where people can, like, yeah, passively learn about finances from your queer financial wizard. Also on my
Yeah.
website, Coaching with Wave, I do have a freebie on there. It's like how to get started. It does dive into the kind of crunchy heart stuff, like how do I undo a belief and what do I want? And then just my website in general. My favorite thing, and I know this is the hardest step for people to take, is to jump on a coffee chat with me. I absolutely adore talking to people. It's my favorite. And I do have programs. I have a 3-month and a 5-month program. I call them an adventure, and people are more than welcome to join my programs. And I also just love sending people in the right direction. So it's a free chat, and I will point you to resources and hopefully get you going in the right way. I'm also open to learning about other people. So having people tell me what's going on out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
And
so
what's
it's
that
an
website?
honor to be here.
What's that
Sure,
website?
it's coaching. Yeah, coaching with Wave. And there are unicorns on that website.
Beautiful. Coaching with Wave for learning more and getting connected to Wave. So yeah, Wave, thank you again for coming on here, sharing your amazing journey and story, and helping the children out there to really understand what's the next step in overcoming the shame and moving forward into a step, in the right direction when it comes to their financial situation and their financial life, and actually living life and spending money on things that they want to spend money on.
Yay. Thanks, Cristiano. I appreciate you.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Feel free to add your comments or ask questions. Where you can find me on social media. So I'm not going to share any of that, but I'll be back next week with some more episodes of the Queer Quest podcast. And until then, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now. Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards love and happiness? Introducing the 21-day Gay Men's Guide to Love and Happiness. This isn't just a course, it's a pathway to discovering your true self, overcoming challenges, and embracing happiness. Join hundreds of gay men who found joy and freedom. Learn from Cristiano Green, a coach with 20 years experience and a journey like yours. For a limited time, get this life-changing course at 75% off with a 100% risk-free guarantee. There's nothing to lose, but so much to gain. Your new life is just a click away. Enroll in the 21-day Gay Men's Guide to Love and Happiness today. Visit theglobalpridecollective.com and start your journey towards a happier, more fulfilled you.